Howdy y'all, welcome back to the Black Sheep Meadow. And we might have had a video I think last week where we talked about we had our first frost a few weeks ahead of schedule. So now if y'all have watched my irrigation video, or irrigation part 1 video, y'all remember me talking about pulling in all of our valves and the electronic timers, bringing them in. So that's what we're going to do today, get ready for winter time on the homestead. Hang in here. Alright, if y'all remember in my irrigation part 1 video, you can look at the leaves in the background and see if I can get y'all picked up. Y'all can look at a lot of the leaves and vegetation in the background has changed quite considerably. Like I said, we've had a pretty decent frost about 2 weeks ago now, which is about 3 weeks ahead of schedule for our first predicted frost. So, but nonetheless, it's time to get all these valves in. I've already turned my water off. I don't know if I can see that right here. See if I can get y'all set up good right there. So I've already turned my water off at the water well and out here at the irrigation. I probably need to verify. Yeah, we don't have any water pressure on it. Once again, this Orbit system, everything is quick connect. Y'all can see, we're going to take this whole manifold and put it in the shed. Alright, if y'all remember in the irrigation part 1 video, we talked about putting a shutoff valve out here at the garden as well as inside at the water well. Something that's really worked really well for this is now I only have this small section of pipe from the valve to here that can possibly fill up with dirt, which come next spring we're going to open the valve, flush out any dirt that's in the pipe so it doesn't get in the valves. Alright, so we talked about the main wiring as well, and of course the grease capsules holding all of our electrical. All of our grease capsules will be replaced. They're fairly cheap. I replace them every single year. So basically for our electrical, we can just go ahead and cut it off here, and I will re-splice into that next year. In the meantime, the entire manifold will go in the garden shed. Alrighty guys, so here we are at the battery operated irrigation timers. And on these, this is going to be pretty straightforward. We're just going to turn the water off for these. The timer's already off. Separate this. I'm gonna go get my wrench. I'll be right back. Alright, I got my channel locks. Ooh. Alrighty guys, so we have on this particular valve, we got an issue with it. The brass has actually corroded into the timer, which I'm going to show you. I'm going to get y'all out on the table. I'll show you how to correct that in a second. But in the meantime, we're going to take off this Y off the faucet because we're not going to need it. This faucet, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the amount of sunlight that it gets throughout the day or whatever. We've never had a problem with this particular pipe and freezing. Unless, of course, we're below freezing for several days. I typically put pipe insulation on it every single year though, so. I'm just gonna put my water hose right back in this. The dog bowl, I don't know if I got that in the screen or not. The water bowl for for the dog is right here below the faucet. So it's very easy to get her water throughout the year as well. Alright, turn that off. We're going to do one more. Alright, I got y'all here at the chicken coop. It's the same basic thing. We're going to make sure all the water's off. Here at the coop, I don't turn this water off throughout the year because they do have automatic waterers in the chicken coops. We've got a video on that. Go check that out. If we get to a week where we're going to have several days below freezing, especially in the nighttime, we will turn the water off and drain the pipes out of this plumbing system and revert back to just the pails that were refilled daily, simply because I don't want a busted pipe and water everywhere. So this is all going to be pretty basic. Hang in there with me. I'm going to get these over to the table and show you how we prep these for the winter months, even with being stored inside the shed. I'm probably going to fast forward this just to make it a little faster so y'all aren't watching me work. I do want to note on the irrigation hoses for around our chicken coop, the Y or the T has actual shutoff valves on it after our timer as well. And I'm not picking up my irrigation hoses every single year. We're actually going to refill these garden beds starting in the spring. But obviously y'all know in the spring it gets to be super busy with the amount of food that we're trying to grow. So I try and make it as easy as possible on myself and leave some of the things set up from year to year. But I do keep these valves off to keep any dirt or bugs out of my irrigation hoses. So just a little tidbit. All right, let's head on over to the table and finish prepping these timers, the irrigation timers for the winter months. You see you got Amber over here. She's painting a bee box for the bees. She's getting bees this spring. Yep. And she's prepping all of her bee boxes. Y'all can see some of them right down the side of the shed. And
it's a pretty day for it.
If I'm not mistaken, this is a specialized paint for the bee boxes. It's not just a regular white.
No, it's not. It's not really anything special. You just have to use. There's certain. We can go into that, but there's. You don't want to use one of the high toxic paints. So this is just. It's a basic paint, but you want to make sure it's not a high toxic. You know, one of those ones with low fumes. And you don't paint the inside of your boxes. You're just painting the outside, like where the weather is, not where the bees are. Okay. So. Yeah.
Nonetheless, back to irrigation. Let's get over here to the table. Check out our barn they're working on. We're going to do a video of that here shortly, so y'all hang in there for that. Let me get y'all set up on the table. There. Now we can talk about our irrigation valves and how we set them up for winter. Y'all can see all of these orbit valves. We had a problem with one of them corroding pretty bad. And I'll get that fixed up. But all of these orbit valves, every single year, take the batteries out of them. Throw those batteries away. Batteries are cheap. Way cheaper than these things. Put them back together. Make sure there's no water in the valve. It's going to freeze because the inside the shed will still be below freezing and the water will stay in the valves. And if y'all can keep them from freezing, they will last. So once again, make sure all the batteries are out. Don't even worry about trying to save the batteries. Those batteries have been in there for a year now. And the double A's, I don't care what brand they are, they will leak and destroy your timer. On our main irrigation timer for the main garden, not a whole lot of prep work needs to go into this for the winter months. But basically I take and I go ahead and cut off all of my grease capsules. That way, starting next year, basically what I'm doing is I'm prepping myself for next spring. It's always busy. So the more work that I can do now that I don't have to do next spring, the better off we'll be. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and get rid of all this junk. It's less to store. Keep up with. There we go. Now, I can put all this in the shed. I no longer have to worry about it. I'm going to do that real quick. I want to get you guys on, take y'all around and look at some of the frost damage on a lot of our plants and a few things that I'm going to try and do to prolong some of the things like the potatoes. So hang in there for just a second. All right, so I want to get y'all in on some of my potatoes. If y'all look, the potatoes took a real beating with the frost. A lot of the tops burned off, but a lot of the stem and the trunk and the lower leaves have done quite well. So we're gonna leave these in the ground for a few more weeks. Well, at least until we get another hard freeze. The potatoes will actually continue growing under the soil. I might pull a test plant up. We could probably use some potatoes with dinner tonight. Matter of fact, that's what we're gonna do. Let's see them up. Let's go after, I don't wanna get y'all in the sun. Let's go after a more mature plant like this right here. Let's see what we get. Let's set y'all up. There. As you can see, we got a pretty healthy potato plant here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull him up. Shake him off. That's our original seed. And this is a lot of the potatoes that it's growing. You see we got a decent potato here. Another little potato there. Probably not a lot. So that plant needed a few more weeks still. So that's fun. We're gonna check them out.
What did we get?
It's 2 potatoes
For
dinner tonight.
What's going on?
That's the seed.
Oh.
Let's see what we can get out of these.
Get some on that other side that are hit, the frost hit more.
Not enough yet. Not enough potatoes yet. Huh? Be enough for dinner tonight. We got a handful in the pantry. Make sure there's no hidden ones down in there. They need a few more weeks. We'll give it to them as long as we don't get another freeze. Then come check out our green beans. Still quite muddy. I didn't want to slop around in all this mud. We're supposed to have a fairly dry week. We're going to be cold about Wednesday or so. And I think we got a rain shower coming in maybe Tuesday. Of course, this is Sunday afternoon, but maybe Wednesday this week, if we've got enough dry air moving in, this area won't be so muddy. I'm gonna take down these trellises. Amber worked really hard on that this summer. There's a video on that, go check that out. But we'll start getting the garden ready for winter. And like I said, we're gonna focus on getting as much work done now so we don't have to do it in the spring when we're already prepared. We're gonna be really busy then. So this is what it takes to grow 80% of your own food. It's a lot of work out here on the homestead. Don't be afraid to do it. It's achievable. In the meantime, we'll catch y'all next week.